Time and Tide, the Australian Watch Authority, since 2014.
We've just spent the morning here at JLC looking at this watch. It's the brand new Polaris, but we haven't been learning the figures and the facts and the press stats. We've been learning how it's made. But more than that, we've been learning about the people who make it. And I've got to say, I've got so much more time for this collection now that I understand the work that goes into it. So let's find out just what goes into making the Polaris.
The Polaris was born in a golden age of dive watches. It was developed in the early 60s, but took a while to be released later in the decade. It was also a very small production. Under 2,000 were made. The watch stands out because it combined a diver with an internal bezel with a mechanical alarm function. It also stands out thanks to the highly distinctive dial, still a key part of the identity of the new Polaris collection. With so many elements of the build to focus on, it makes a lot of sense to start with the dial. At first glance, these clean, almost Spartan dials appear to be quite simple, but look closer and you'll see just how sophisticated they are. The architecture across all models revolves around 3 finishes and 3 concentric circles. The outermost circles, which is that inner bezel, has an opaline finish. Next up there's the minutes and hours ring, which has a grained finish. And finally there's that innermost circle, reminiscent of the Memovox. That has a sunray finish, which gives a really multi-leveled, complex feel to this watch instantly. On top of that, already sophisticated assembly, there's the vintage-inspired applied Arabic numerals and those trapezoidal indexes. All told, these dials tell a story of modernity and heritage at a glance. Oh, and they also tell the time. But now, let's see how the case is made.
Did you ever do metal tech in high school? I did, and that's what this room smells like. There's machine oil, there's noise, and relevant for our interest, there's also watch cases. In my hand are 2 early stages of the Polaris case. There's a lot of work to be done on these cases yet, but you can see the building blocks are there. There's the lugs, they're obviously round, but what needs to happen is there needs to be more polishing, more cutting, and that fine finishing that is such a hallmark of JLC.
The cases are, as you'd imagine, a brand new design, but one inspired by the past. They're both elegant and sporty, with a combination of smooth brush and high polish finishes. The lugs are sharp and steep, and the thin round bezels really let the dials sing out.
This is my new best friend Cindy. She's one of the makers here at JLC, and her job is to use tiny sticks of wood to give a fine satin polish to the Polaris case at the moment. Fun fact, it takes about 12 hours to polish 100 cases, and it's entirely up to Cindy's discretion as to when the case has enough polish. What do you think, Cindy? We almost there? I don't always pick up completely finished Polaris cases in steel, but when I do, I definitely wear finger cots. The watch case we saw earlier has gone a step further. This is the completely finished case, and it is a very, very different beast indeed. There's high polishes here, there's a really fine satin brush. It's a world away from that blank, solid mass of steel we saw before. Almost there.
And finally, we come to the movement. Given that the Polaris is a fully fledged collection rather than a single model, there's actually a range of movements at play, and it makes perfect sense given JLC's immense depth of caliber back catalogue. Of course, there's different levels of finishing and complexity, but all exhibit the same balance of robustness and beauty that is a characteristic across the line. More than that, they're all united by being designed and made in-house. And that's not just marketing hype in the case of JLC.
The Polaris is more than the case. It's more than the dial. It's more even than the movement that beats away inside it. It's the people who made all those elements and put them together. And that's what makes it such a special watch.